might have clicked on one of my budget, eco-friendly home projects, DIYs, thrifting, meal ideas, or other ways I save money. My channel is about sharing my journey learning, expanding, and my knowledge and skills on ways to be more resourceful and sustainable living and lifestyle while adapting to the challenges in an ever-changing economy. I am sure you too can relate and have similar goals. I love to be creative, and I hope by me sharing my journey through life, we can learn and grow together. Would be happy if you hit that subscribe button now, and I'm so glad you are here today with me. Let's go ahead and get into this video. Hey there, how's it going? I hope you are doing well. Welcome to my channel, Evergreen Home. My name is Megan. Thank you so much for coming along and clicking on this video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys ways that you can repurpose and reuse glass containers that you get from buying items in your local grocery store. And I just think this is a very great way to be resourceful and repurposing items and not letting them go to waste. Of course, we have to recycle what we can't use, but oftentimes I just find it's very useful for stuff in my home and not kind of buying into new products that you can use to store your food items in your kitchen or places around your home. Now, oftentimes, of course, there's lots of marketing and things like that to buy new jars for your reorganizing and storing your stuff in your home. I do have some products here, of course, to kind of show you an example. These aren't brand new. These were bought from my local thrift store for 59 cents a piece. So this is also, of course, a great way is thrifting your glass jar items. In my local area, just a quick note, we have a lot of glass recycling, big containers that sit in like grocery store parking lots. You can just find in your local area where you can recycle glass. I'm going to share with you guys things that I repurpose and reuse in my home using reused glass containers. And hopefully you find it helpful for finding ways to repurpose and reuse your items in your home instead of just completely throwing everything out all the time. And then maybe also just saving a little bit of money and saving a little bit of extra money and putting that back in your pocket and not going and buying into all the new stuff that you feel like you have to buy on like Temu and Amazon and things like that, because I think that you can easily repurpose and reuse glass containers that you already have on hand from buying items that you've bought that were in glass containers at your local stores. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get into this video and share with you guys 8 different tips in your home that you can repurpose that are not plastic. I'm also just going to quickly share with you guys, I am trying to reduce the plastic in my home. I'm slowly doing this project. I've been using glass containers like this that I'm sharing in the video today, but I'm also just reducing other plastic items in my home, like plastic storage bins and things like that, and replacing them with closed basket lids and other types of baskets that you can also find at the local thrift store. But I'll get into that in another video. I thought as I'm learning, I would be sharing with you guys as well and maybe having some new ideas that you might find useful. The first thing I want to share with you guys is seasonings. So, of course, like I was saying, oftentimes people buy into needing to buy brand new glass containers for storing items in their kitchen and in their home and other areas of the home. But you can do that. That's great if you want to save a little bit of money or just trying to repurpose some of the glass containers that you're already buying. There's different ways that you can repurpose seasoning jars. So the ways that I have bought my seasoning jars is instead of buying them in like a plastic container like this, I go ahead and try to buy stuff in glass jars. Now, of course, some things are only going to come in plastic. Not everything comes in a glass jar, but the basics, garlic, onion powder, ginger powder, things like that, you can buy in a glass jar. So sometimes like Simple Truth, and I think the other one is McCormick's, they have glass jars. There's other brands as well, but they'll have sales in your local grocery stores, like buy two, get one free. They'll have coupons like $1 off of one and things like that. So it's just a great way that you can buy that glass seasoning container a little bit cheaper. You know, it obviously has stuff in it, so this is great. Have some chili powder. I have used in a repurposed glass container like this one, and I just washed it out and took some chili powder and dumped it into one of these colanders and straight into the seasoning jar, and then I just use a permanent marker and write chili powder on there. I don't have to have fancy little plastic stickers or anything like that. You can just easily write on it. Just simply writing it on there, you can easily wash it off. I find that being the best tip, because for me, I like to rewash my items after I'm done using them and then repurposing them. So for me, I don't like putting the stickers and like the labels on here, because then you just have to wash it off anyway and then have to get a new one to replace that. And so I just want it as easy, simple, streamlined as possible, basic as possible, and I think that just writing with a permanent marker is just as easy than having a fancy label, but to each their own. You can do what you want with that. The nice thing about if you're switching over to plastic to glass containers for seasoning purposes is you can support small businesses that sell seasonings, or you can also grow your own seasonings and dry them out. And so I'm a beginner with herbal and vegetable gardens. I'm not an expert at that, but that is what I do. Not for everything and not always, because you always run out, of course. And so for me, I don't have like a farm kind of setting. I have a very small backyard. You can use an oven, you can use like a Ninja dehydrator. It's like a Ninja roaster, I think it is. Anyways, a dehydrator, or you can just simply dry out your herbs like this here, or you can just simply dry out your herbs just like this here. Whichever way you want to do it. There's so many ways. You don't have to buy all the fancy tools to dry out your herbs. There's plenty of ways that you can do that. So hopefully that gives you a little nice tip for seasonings. I have these little amber adapter type jars that I use. I get my son some liquid melatonin. So all I do is I wash these out, the sticker that's on it, I take the sticker off, and you can use like Goo Gone or dish soap or whatever you want to use to get the film off of these. And then once I'm done cleaning them, I will stick them in a little hot bath of boiling water. I don't let it sit in boiling water, but I boil the water and then I take it off the pot, take it off the stove, and then I just kind of like take that little glass jar, submerge it in the water really good, and then I let it dry out upside down for a couple hours, and then I flip it back up and I let it dry out coming this way. Since I don't want to ruin these little adapters here, I just quickly take some hot water and syringe it up like that, like so, and then squeeze it out and just clean it out really good. So that way you're sanitizing the item. So whatever you use to repurpose this for, it's easy to sanitize it and repurpose it. So I do that. Now you can make your own essential oils, and you can use some like grapeseed oil or whatever type of olive oil you want to use, and make your own kind of essential oil adapter. So you can put it on your wrist, your body. You can put it inside like a diffuser or things like that. There's other ways you can repurpose this with like your own facial oil dropper. I'm going to do some video on ways that you can utilize these jars. That will be probably in a separate video. I just kind of wanted to start using some natural facial products and natural essential oils that will save you a ton of money if you do it too. I want to start using these type of jars so they don't go bad or rancid really quickly. Say usually it takes about a year if you're storing it correctly before it goes rancid. But since I don't use a whole lot of product anyway, I don't know if I would be using it in a whole year. So I want to test it out in a smaller jar first before I go ahead and jump into like being some big essential oil and making my own organic type of stuff. But I do want to start saving money on stuff like this. I will do a video another time. The next thing I have is ways that you can repurpose your kombucha drinks. So these kombucha drinks came in an amber glass jar. Most kombuchas come in a glass jar. There's different ways you can repurpose it. For the ones that I've repurposed them for is when they come in taller jars like this, taller skinny jars like this, I will repurpose them to use it for making dressings and things like that, but I'll get into that here in a minute. The purpose that I repurpose these type of jars is for my cleaning products, and so you can make your own cleaning products using these jars, or you can also buy your hydrogen peroxide and your rubbing alcohol and store it in these types of jars. So I've cleaned these out really good. I've gotten all the sticky stuff off, the labels off, and got all of the plastic stuff that comes when you have to open the jar. I still have a little bit left on this one to get off, but you can save these lids or you can throw them out if you're repurposing them. I would save the lids because you might find that you use it for something else where you would need a lid. But for this specific one, I am going to store my hydrogen peroxide and my rubbing alcohol in these jars. The reason why I'm taking it out of this plastic jar and into this jar is for a visual aspect of it. So I'm gonna have these stored up in my laundry area, and it's just nice to have a nice little visual cleaning product up in my cupboard. And I don't know, but maybe it'll last longer as well. Who knows? I don't think hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol go rancid. I'm not really sure, but I am gonna go ahead and use this product and put it in these glass jars using a colander. This colander is clean. And so all I'm gonna do is simply now, in this nice cleaned out sanitized jar, I'm just going to take the hydrogen peroxide and fill it up. I'll go ahead and clean out this and recycle this. And then I'm gonna take the lid that it had on top of the hydrogen peroxide bottle, and now I'm gonna take this lid, and it perfectly fits on top of this glass bottle. So it's brown with the amber bottle. It kind of goes simply with each other, and then you can just use it exactly as you would for your cleaning products, and it dumps out just as nicely as it would in a jug here. And it's visual, nice looking item on your laundry shelf or in your cupboard. And so all I'm gonna do here is take a permanent marker. You can use a skinny tip one or a fat tip one. Here I'm gonna use a fat tip one, and I'm gonna write hydrogen peroxide, so that way I know what my product is. You probably won't be able to see this on camera, but it is visible for me. And then on the top, I'm just gonna write a H for hydrogen peroxide. If you wanna use matching tops or not, I think like if you wanna label it or not, you can easily just take, so if you're just using like hydrogen peroxide in this one and then rubbing alcohol in the other one, what you can do is you can use the rubbing alcohol one on the other glass jar and the hydrogen peroxide lid on the other, so you know the difference between the two. If you have kids, they might not know, so it might be best to label it if it's just you and you know what's in there, or you have a system in place and you've communicated with everybody, whatever way you want to do it. I've been doing it, and it's very handy and nice, aesthetic looking. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this out so that way I can pour the rubbing alcohol in the other one. Okay, so I have this colander cleaned out, and then I'm going to go ahead and take the other glass jar that I have and pour the rubbing alcohol in here. And so the way I saved money on this process, not buying a brand new one for how much ever it runs for, I'll probably try to find one and put a screenshot up here, but I bought these kombuchas they were on a clearance out price, and then I had I bought a rebate app. I had a rebate for the same exact kombucha drinks, and so I submitted those to my rebate app, got money back, and ended up getting these jars for like under 50 cents. It was crazy. They clearanced these out for like $1.50 or $1.37 or something like that, something crazy like that. So I got these under 50 cents. So I had the product, used the product, and then I repurposed the jar, and now I'm using it for aesthetic reasons. So this is a great way to repurpose for more like aesthetic looking items. And so that's an idea. Let me find the lid where I put the rubbing alcohol lid at. I don't know. I misplaced it. And so all I'm simply doing is putting the rubbing alcohol lid on this. So I have a different lid and I know which one is which. I'm gonna go ahead and label it because I have kids in the house that don't remember the system. I'm just gonna put an A on here for rubbing alcohol on the top, and then I'm gonna write out rubbing alcohol as well. And so the cool thing is if you mess up or don't like the way it's written on here, you can use your rubbing alcohol, put it on a little cloth, and rub the permanent marker right off where you wrote before. And so if you can't scrub it off with a soap and water right offhand, you can use some rubbing alcohol to get that right off easily. So I got these are great. And then so milk jars. So in our area, we have farmers that sell their milk here, and so what they do is they bring it into like a store like Hy-Vee, and people can buy the milk, hand in the jar after they use it, and then they'll go ahead and give you a discount, saving plastic and the usage of plastic in milk in plastic jugs, and repurposing these jars. And I just think that's a great way for local farmers and local people trying to reduce waste. Now, of course, there's plastic on top of this. This lid's probably made of some sort of a plastic, but I repurpose these for making frozen orange juice, frozen lemonade, or homemade orange juice or lemonade, tea, what have you. And so I think this is a great way to repurpose milk jugs like these if you're not repurposing them for milk. And so that is what I'm using this for. I do use for tea, for cooling down some water. If I'm having like a get together and I want to have some tea and water on the counter, I can pull it right out of the fridge, already made, with a lid on it, so it's storing nicely. And if I have to take this outside, I can easily have a lid on it and then not get all of the outside particles going into the drink. So I just think this is a great way to repurpose like milk jugs like these. And they also store really nicely in the fridge, and they pair really nicely together. So like the orange juice jugs and the milk jugs, they all are just kind of wide and then skinny, and you just can't finagle your way through in the refrigerator. And these just fit super nicely. You can adjust your height of your shelf and store them right on the shelf, nicely paired next to each other, straight up and down. So it's easily fitting in as well height-wise in your refrigerator. And then you can also store it in your refrigerator door if you need to as well. But like I said, I am using these for making my own orange juices and lemonade. If you have like a juicer, handmade juicer or juicer, but you don't have to buy new products to make your own juice. So I just think this is great, and this is what I do in my home, and I've been doing it for a while. So if that is a great idea for you. Other jars that I repurpose are these large pickle jars, or other large jars that you can get from like Costco or Walmart or anything like that. So once I'm done using up the product, I go ahead again, wash this out, sanitize it. You can sanitize this by boiling some water in a tea cup or in a pot like this, and then just dumping the water in here after you've washed it out, and then just kind of rolling around or putting the lid back on and shaking up that hot water in there just to kind of get it sanitized. But the reason why I repurpose these is so I can store like my carrots and celery in, so that it's all sitting upright and nice next to each other, and also saving me a little bit more of that product for a longer bit of a time, and not just throwing it in a drawer underneath my refrigerator. And so I use it for that. You can use it for the longevity of your that egg process, where it extends the life of your eggs. You can just easily YouTube or Google it, so if you want to try that, that's great. But I just wanted to share with you guys ways that you can repurpose these larger jars. And again, I think these are great for a refrigerator and storage space in your refrigerator. And it's also not a plastic item to storing your vegetables and things like that. Anyways, that is another idea, and I don't care what the lid looks like. You could also make like a little cloth that goes over it and put a little rubber band around it if you feel like you want it to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. So that is great. It's just all you have to do is take a tiny little square of a cloth, drape it over here, and then put a rubber band around it, and it looks a little bit nicer than just that blue topper in your refrigerator. But the reason also I like to just leave it as is as well is that I can date it on the top of here and know the date of the item that I put it in there, or I can put the expiration date and put expires for whenever the lifeline of the product is going to expire. Another way that I repurpose glass jars is I will buy oftentimes discounted dressings if I see them clearanced out, or like an Ibotta rebate or something like that, where I'm getting a little bit of cash back, or even have a coupon. I will go ahead and buy these. I don't typically buy dressings anyway, because I typically make my own dressings most of the time. But if I go ahead and find a discounted one, I will definitely go and buy it if I'm definitely buying it at a low cost. And so I can repurpose the glass jar and make my own homemade dressings. And again, making the own homemade dressing and using a colander to dump the product in, and then writing on the lid the expiration date. I can show you a little few examples of doing some of these things so you can see. I'll probably share that in another video, just because this one's going to be quite long, just kind of going through all of these products. So if you are interested, I would definitely like you to leave a comment below if you're interested in seeing me make my own dressings utilizing these jars. I also use these old spaghetti jars, Classico. I know Classico and one other spaghetti brand, they have kind of like masonry jars with like the measuring cups on here. And this is basically all the cups that I use in my mulches cupboard. All I do is just, again, find these items when they're discounted and or on clearance, and then I go ahead and grab them because they are a little bit more expensive. So I definitely like to use coupons and my rebate apps when buying these items. And anyways, I just go ahead, clean that label off, give it a good clean in the dishwasher, and then I do save the lid for it in case I want to make like my own dressing, or you can store salads in here, or stuff to like leftovers like soups and salads and things like that. So it's not just reusable for drinking glasses purposes, it's also reusable for food storage as well. And again, I think standing upright items in your refrigerator also saves on space and is just easier space-wise for storage instead of that whole stacking method. So that is an idea on that. And the nice thing about these is oftentimes these more mason type jars, they do have mason jar lids that will fit right on these. And so it's kind of nice. Repurpose this, you can use mason jar lids for it instead of the spaghetti jar lid. But I also reuse these for my bacon grease, and then I just pour my bacon grease in here, store it in the fridge, so that way I can utilize this for cooking purposes. And so candle jars. I like to use candle jars for multiple storage purposes. These basic, simple jar candles sometimes have the wood lids on them, so I do save the wood lids in case I want to use it for a nice little aesthetic piece in my bathroom, storing like Q-tips or cotton balls or things like that. And I also like to use this for storing like sponges and things like that underneath my sink. There's so many different ways that you can repurpose these, but all you do is you can leave the sticker on the bottom, leave the gaki inside here, get yourself some boiling water, keep it on boiling for a couple minutes until the wax is in liquid form, and then you can go ahead, take a paper towel and get all of that wax out and give it a really good cleaning. But then also this bottom part will be easily to remove, and then clean that off as well with some soap and a sponge, and then you can easily repurpose this, and it's nice kind of aesthetic look. You can get candles that look kind of similar with lids and stuff like that, but different sizes. We don't use a whole lot of cotton balls, so it would be nice to have like Q-tips in one, cotton balls are in the other, or you can also put like little toothpicks and things like that in here, tooth flossers as well, and they kind of go nicely in here and fit nicely in here, and it has a nice lid in here. Another way that I repurpose jars is finding ones that are kind of like this. They kind of look like a little whiskey glass, and this one didn't have a lid on it. It just had like a little paper covering on it. But if you find ones that are shaped like this that smell good and you want to buy it and use it, then you can repurpose this after you give it a really good cleaning and sanitation, and use it as a whiskey glass, orange juice glass, you know, whatever you want to do. And this looks great styled as well. So if you have like a little bar cart or an area for your bar, or even just up in your cupboard, I mean, you don't have to have it aesthetically showing or anything like that, but it's really nice way to repurpose drinking glasses. So that's all I got for you today in this video. I hope you guys liked these helpful, resourceful tips about repurposing glass jars, and hopefully you can find different ways to utilize glass jars in your home. And if you haven't been doing this already, maybe you found a couple new tips. Just wanted to share with you guys ways that I've been trying to be environmentally friendly and repurposing glass jars in my home. And so anyways, I hope you found it helpful. Thank you so much for coming along and watching this video today. Stay tuned for more. I have another video coming out. I'm refreshing some of the door and door trim in my basement in my home. And so if you want to check that out, come along with me next week as I share along with you guys that video. And I do have some other videos coming up, grocery savings and food cooking and ways to save money when cooking food in your home, and just other things like that. And so I hope you stay tuned and keep coming along and watching with me as I share with you guys my journey and ways that I save money and resourceful in my day-to-day living. Thanks again, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye.